why did I leave the army? It's a strange one really, because I really like my job, really enjoyed my job. But I signed up to the army when I was like 16. I was part of a college scholarship scheme for technical officers. I always knew I wanted to do what I was doing, which is bomb disposal. Yeah, so it's a long time from 16 to 37, which is when I left. And in that time, I'd achieved everything I wanted to achieve. So I'd been to Sandhurst, I'd been to uni first, been to Sandhurst, had a load of cool jobs. I went back to university to do a sort of professional development, go and do a couple of master's degrees in engineering. And then my last job in the army was a job which everyone pretty much wants. It's you want a squadron command. Yeah, I got that job and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. What a privilege. I left as a major because the next stage, which is Lieutenant Colonel, it would have taken quite a long time to achieve, more than I wanted, and I had ThorpyFX going alongside at that time, and I just didn't want to squander the dream of ThorpyFX. At that time, we'd been overlapping working ThorpyFX with a career in the military. And that was achieved because we launched ThorpyFX in November 2014, the day after me and George got married, and launched our first product. And yeah, was just pushing that, going for it, working 18-hour days to sort of sustain that. But it still wouldn't have been possible if Georgia hadn't gone full-time with ThorpyFX. And after a while, working those sort of hours to do both things, it takes a toll on you. I was just tired and worn out. And I came to the realization that ThorpyFX was what I wanted to do full-time. Yeah, so one of the first things we did was go to Winter Nam, which was amazing. Got to meet loads of cool people, got to sell our products to shops and dealerships all around the world, had a great time. Were 4 days of being hoarse, ears being assaulted and all the rest of it, but it was worth it because it gave me a really good kick up the backside, knowing that I'm leaving the army and knowing that that's what I want to do full time. It was almost like you're right, this is exactly what you ought to be doing. So what's the inspiration for the way our pedals sound? Well, it's a bit weird. And I imagine I say it's weird, it's probably the same as everyone else in this regard. We have a certain amount of foundations in that the pedal has to look good. It has to look like a Thorpy pedal would. It has to be robust, it has to be low noise. And they're the givens, okay? If you put that to one side, the inspirations come from just me mucking around with different things, mucking around with amps, mucking around with different fuzzers, stacking things, hearing a record and going, oh, that sounds really cool, how can we achieve that? And sometimes, customers feed into this equation as well, because they'll say, could you do this? Have you thought about this? And when you're looking at a schematic or you're looking at a breadboard, you don't know all the answers. And it's quite good that a customer will go, oh, have you thought about this? Because it might be totally off the wall, but you can take elements of that and feed it into a design. Now, because I'm an obsessive individual, what I tend to do is go deep down the rabbit hole. I bought loads and loads of different pedals. I built thousands, I'm certain of it, before we launched ThorpyFX. I was just obsessing about the tiniest of details with regards to why one pedal sounds better than the other. Why does this have such minute changes and yet sounds so much different to X and Y. And that level of obsessiveness has sort of fed into how our pedals sound, because I just cannot let a product go out the door without being 100% happy with it. It just can't happen. I'm like a dog with a bone in that regard. It's why the chorus took so long to get right. It was perfect for some. I'm sure it would have been perfect for some people. About 8 months before we finally signed off on it. We're working quite heavily with Dan, formerly of Love Tone Pedals, formerly of Dinosaural. The man's a genius, and it's a real pleasure for me to work with him because we can bat ideas off each other. We end up with some crazy things, some of which just don't make it into production, some of which do, but it's those little nuggets that we sort of both get blown away by, they're the things that end up into production, because they're cool. When my breath's taken away from the sound that we're producing, I know it's good. We've got some things that we're working on at the moment. I can't go into too much detail, but I was just totally mucking around for the afternoon and was blown away by the sound of what we were achieving, and I love that. That's a great inspiration, because if you can achieve a certain sound and then elaborate on that and then add the icing to that cake, that's how you get a good product. I don't think we have any particular proudest moment, really. Every day blows me away. This weekend was amazing. It was side of stage at Download, watching one of my favourite bands perform, one of my mates, absolutely slaying it. It was incredible, despite the weather. Being able to do that, it only happens because of what we do with the company, and the interactions that we have with artists. They're all, totally inspirational to me, because I think I come at these things from an engineering perspective, and it's a different mindset. An artist, the way artists use stuff, sometimes it has blown me away. I've watched people use my pedals and just been knocked over, by how they're achieving that sound, because I didn't necessarily design it to do that, but they've done it. It's great. Now, as for proudest moment, I think that really relates to my son. He plays guitar. He is loving what we're doing. He follows us. He's always commenting, "Oh, look at this, and he wants to come and work with us. Now, he's 11. It's going to be a while. We don't do slavery over here. But I couldn't think of anything better than having my son work alongside me. That'd be incredible. And the fact that he loves doing seeing what we're doing, and it's inspiring his playing, well, that blows me away. It really does. What's next for Thorpy? Well, I'm going to be typically coy. What's next? We've got loads of cool things coming up. We're just working through a load of ideas and sort of pushing them over to the edge of the cliff, and then we'll kick them off into flight. But there's lots of cool things, I'll just say that. I mean, our release schedule is probably lesser than some of the bigger companies. The reason it's lesser is because I take a long time to get these things right. It just does, If you're obsessing about these things, guess what? It just takes a bit more time. We only tend to release a couple of pedals a year. Why? Because they're nailed down, absolutely nailed down. Now, what does that mean for what's coming next? We've got some cool stuff. NAMM's going to be interesting. I'm pretty excited about that.